I think I always knew something was off, not in a dramatic way. Nothing you could point at and say, there, that's the moment it all changed. It was quieter, subtle, like a faucet dripping in another room, easy to ignore until the damage is already done. It started with little things. He stopped kissing me goodbye in the mornings, stopped saying I love you on his way out the door. The texts got shorter, the calls fewer, and suddenly his phone had a passcode. We never had secrets. At least that's what I thought. Before all this, before the lies, there were mornings when he would pull me back into bed just to kiss me one more time. We'd lie there, tangled in each other, whispering about nothing. Back then, even silence felt intimate. I remember our first road trip. He let me play my terrible 2000s heartbreak playlist on loop. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. He looked at me at a gas station in Arizona and said, "You're my favorite person in the world." I believed him. I think that's why the betrayal hit so hard. It wasn't just about the kiss. It wasn't just about her. It was about every promise, every touch, every casual "I love you" that I now realize had an expiration date I didn't see coming. The night I saw him with her, my entire world went quiet. It felt like I was underwater, like my body was still sitting in that car, but my soul had already left. I watched the way he smiled at her, the way he held her hand, so natural, like he'd done it 100 times before. And the worst part? He looked happy. He used to look at me that way. When he got home later that night, I was already in bed. Lights off. He crawled in next to me and said, "Long day." I nodded. I didn't trust my voice. I laid there, 2 inches away from a stranger. For the next week, I played my part. I smiled. I cooked his favorite meals. I asked about work. Every night, I wondered if he was texting her from the bathroom. Every time his phone buzzed, I felt sick. And then the suitcase moment happened when I asked him if she knew he was married. Something broke in his eyes. Not because he felt guilty, but because he knew the game was over. He gave me the usual lines. It didn't mean anything. It was just a moment. I made a mistake. But I'd already heard enough lies in his silence over the last few months. I walked out, not because I stopped loving him, but because I finally started loving me. The days after I left were hollow. I would stare at the ceiling for hours. Some nights, I'd forget to eat. Others, I'd cry myself into exhaustion. There were moments I wanted to go back, just to not feel so alone. But I knew I'd be lonelier in that marriage than in an empty apartment. I started writing again, journaling every morning before sunrise. My sister would bring me coffee and sit beside me in silence. That silence healed more than any apology he ever gave me. I started remembering who I was before him, the girl who used to sing loudly in the car, the one who painted barefoot in the kitchen, the one who believed in magic, in love that didn't make you smaller. I booked a cabin alone in the woods. No Wi-Fi, no distractions, just me, my thoughts, and a fireplace. I cried a lot that weekend, but I also danced, in my pajamas, in the quiet, and I laughed, like really laughed. It echoed off the walls, and I remember thinking, I'm coming back to life. He kept texting, "Please talk to me. I still love you." She meant nothing, but he never once said, "I'm sorry for breaking you." That's when I knew he didn't deserve me back. I saw her once, at a bookstore. She looked nervous when she recognized me. She opened her mouth, but I shook my head and smiled. Because I'm not angry anymore. I'm not bitter. I just don't care. And that freedom, that peace, it's priceless. You know what no one tells you? That sometimes healing doesn't come from closure. It comes from acceptance. From deciding that you don't need another conversation or another lie. You just need to choose yourself. Now, I sleep with the whole bed to myself, and I don't mind. I light candles at night and cook for one, and read books that make me cry in the best way. I call my friends again. I laugh during brunch. I'm learning how to be alone and love it. I still have hard days, but they pass because I'm not waiting for someone else to save me anymore. I am the storm and the shelter now. I'm not the woman who says it's okay just to keep the peace. I'm not the woman who puts herself last for the comfort of others. I'm the woman who left, the woman who grew roots in broken soil, the woman who now knows that love without respect is just a slow death in disguise. And I will never die like that again. So if you're listening to this and you're crying in silence beside someone who no longer sees you, let this be your sign. You don't have to stay. You don't have to shrink. You can start over. You can heal. You can walk away and never look back.